Hey everyone, welcome back to Crown Stag voiceover. My name is Neil Glasgow. So in today's video, we're going to go over 6 things that you are told to never, ever do as a voice actor that you probably will. So with that in mind, let's get into it. So I wanted to make this video because I talked with some of my students this week and they keep saying things like, I read this forum, I read this thing, I was told I was whatever, indicating a lot of things that they are told that they shouldn't do. And, we had a nice laugh about it because a lot of these things that come out are probably not feasible long term for anyone who does this as a career. So, kicking off at number 6, never working for less than market rates. I'll never work for less than this amount of money. Yeah, you will. I'll never take a job unless they pay me this. Yes, you will. I will always stand my ground and I'll never take a penny less than this. Let me give you a prime example, okay? I've said it before, I work with clients all over the world. Now, my pricing within the UK, my average job is anywhere between £250 and £300. Some are significantly above that, and the odd job is a little bit below that, but on average about £250 to £300. Now, say I kept my line in the sand and I said 300 is my minimum that I would work with. What I've immediately done there is price myself out of the market for a lot of clients. Now, you might be thinking, well, why are you doing that? Surely the client should be paying what they're paying. If I charge £300 to an American client who has a $300 budget, well, that $300 is only £220. Or I'm telling the American client, no, you've got to pay me nearly $450 to meet my rate because that's just how good I am. And I might be just that good. But budgets matter country dependent. If I've got a client that's in India, £300 for someone in India is a lot of money. It's exchange rates, and exchange rates really do matter. And if you're in the very privileged position where you can only accept this amount of money and you're making money, great for you. But for the vast majority of people, they have to diversify all over the world. And you have to work to your client's budget. Now, if I get a job in from an American client and their budget is $300, am I going to take that? Yeah, because work leads to work. And £220 is better than no pounds. At number 5, never reach out to another voice actor looking for work. I've never understood this one. Rather, I understand it. Because I've got some pretty crappy messages from other voice actors and it's kind of like I've just walked in their house and stolen their puppy. But the vast majority of people in our industry are actually really good to work with. Collaboration is a wonderful thing in our business. The amount of work that I have passed on to individuals because I've got a network, I've got contacts, and I get messages quite often saying, do you know someone with a Nigerian accent? Do you know someone who can speak fluent Spanish? Whatever it is. These are things that I can't provide. So why in the world wouldn't I be able to recommend those people? And that's the same thing that happens when I reach out to people in the market that are also voice actors or voiceovers, that they can recommend work for me. And that has happened numerous times. Being told, don't reach out asking other people who are looking for work, it's really about how you word that message or how you word that approach. And collaboration is the big thing. I have worked with and developed massive projects with people that have been high-paying work that started with absolutely nothing. It was a bunch of people who had disparate skills, came together and created a profitable project. If you have the opportunity to work with someone, even if it's for a very low pay, I would take that opportunity because you never know where it's going to lead to. At number 3, never use the freelance site or the pay-to-play sites. The reality is that is just not feasible for a lot of people. Actually, most people, I would say, in the market today. The market has very much shifted, and those opinions are kind of cast overs from, well, even just 5 years ago, certainly 10 years ago. Because the route used to be that you would get an agent and you would secure work through that agent. And with the freelance sites and pay-to-play sites, really, they've kind of wedged their way in to that area of the market. You can now go out and apply for a job directly, do an audition directly with a client. And that cuts out the middleman being the agent or whatever other method that you're really looking at. And to say to someone or to have the opinion of, well, I was told to not go on the pay-to-play sites. I have been told not to go on the pay-to-play sites, predominantly by one of my agents, but also from other voice actors who have either had negative experiences on the platforms, don't feel they add value to the industry, and ultimately, the big complaint with all of these things is they undercut the market rate. They undercut you as the independent. But what you need to really realise is your access to the marketplace is getting harder and harder by the day. There are more people in the market than there's ever been. There is more access to voiceovers than there's ever been. And with the upcoming technology of AI voices, which, they're iffy at the minute, but they're getting there, how do you compete? And if you're not on these sites, at least doing a little bit, learning, earning some money, you're going to find accessing this as a career far more difficult, because it's far more difficult than it's ever been. These are avenues, not the only ones, but they are avenues that you can access to start building your career. And ultimately, that's what you're looking for. At number 3, you can't work until you've been trained by a professional. That's a very weird thing. There is this opinion in the market that says, look, you're never going to be successful unless you've attended acting classes, got a vocal coach, a voiceover coach, an acting coach, all this training before you do anything day one. And is there an argument to say that that is valid, valuable? Probably the latter. The reality is that if you're just starting out, there is a lot of outlay that goes with this. And paying for vocal coaches, voice acting lessons, whatever it might be, is a very important thing for you to be better at what you're doing. But ultimately, you need a baseline. And if you can't afford to access all of those things, bear in mind this is spending money before you're making money with no guarantee that you will make money. Saying to someone that you're never going to be successful unless you do this, it's a difficult pill to swallow. And the reality is, I know lots of people that have not done a day of vocal training, acting coaches, anything like that, and they make a goddamn fortune in this business. And it's not to say that for certain avenues you don't need this. If you want to get into voice acting for anime or video games or something like that where you need to emote quite a lot, yeah, maybe that might be a valid thing. But if you want to do e-learning, if you want to do audiobooks for cooking books, whatever it might be, do you need that? Maybe not. I would say that anyone with half a personality could probably get through those things and could probably make some money. Do they have a place in the market? Absolutely. Is it a blocker before day one? Absolutely not. At number 2, never, ever, under any circumstances, self-produce your own demo. Yeah, this one is coming with a bit of a caveat. So, I've been in the industry a very long time. I know my DAW. I produce my own demos. I produce demos for other people. Do you want to do that day one when you haven't learned anything? Absolutely not. If you are confident in your capabilities to produce your own demo, by all means, do it. I've been doing it for a number of years now, and I secure work through my own produced demos. Accessing a demo is fraught with peril. okay? Especially if you're going to a studio to get it done. And the reason behind that is the studio will produce a professional demo. That does not guarantee your quality. So you might go in there and be completely monotone, and it will sound amazing, but you will sound pants. You might be spending out thousands of pounds, if not certainly hundreds of pounds, dollars, whatever, to get these demos done. And that's an outlay. And when you reproduce your demos, I create a new demo for myself maybe every 3 months, certainly every 6 months, twice a year. If I'm going to lay out thousands of pounds twice a year, I need to know that it's of quality. And ultimately, if you're going to do that, to keep in contact with the people that you have, you don't want to send them the old material. So that has a hell of a price tag that comes against it. Now, as I say, I caveat this. Getting a professional demo done is paramount to you being successful in this business. But you can create a professional demo provided you know what you're doing and you take the time to learn how to do it. And number 1, never audition for something that doesn't suit you. What does that mean? Now, don't get me wrong, I can completely understand if they're asking for a 9-year-old girl voice, James Earl Jones is not going to apply for that and do an audition for that. His voice would not suit that particular thing. But the voiceover market is not as cut and dry as that. The amount of auditions that I see that ask for a neutral accent. What does that mean? I understand what people want it to mean, but if you're in America, for example, and you can travel hundreds of miles and the accents don't change any, that makes a little bit more sense. You can differentiate by state. If you're in the UK, you can travel 10 miles and get a completely different accent in all directions. The scope and breadth of a British accent is massive. So when you see things that are ambiguous in what they're asking for, should you audition for it? I would always encourage you to, and there's a reason for that, or rather there's 2 reasons for that. 1, it gives you good auditioning experience, and it gives you something that you can actually put into your demo reel. It's essentially a free script, a free audition. There's no NDAs, provided there's no NDAs that go with that. You could use that in part of your commercial demo, your e-learning demo, whatever it might be, because you've got a delivery that goes with that. But also, there's something very key. Now, I've auditioned for things that just say generically British, or even I've auditioned for things that say RP, so the received pronunciation. And given that my accent is Scottish, but it's quite soft, I've lived in England for a very long time, I have secured work that was advertised for an accent and for a delivery that was not aimed at me. And does that happen all the time? No, but it happens enough that I get enough work and I would be confident applying for something that I felt that I could land. And ultimately, that's what you're looking to do. If you look at what the offer is, what the ask is, and what the requirement is, and you think, do you know what, I could do that, do it. What do you have to lose? The reality is, they are going to go through 60, 100 auditions to find the right one. You could be one of that 60 or 100, or you could be the right one. And that's it. Those are my 6 voiceover things you're told to never ever do, that chances are you're going to do more than once. If you've liked the video, give it a like, share and subscribe, and please do hit that notification bell. And as a little shout out, I am going to be on an upcoming podcast called the Cold Read Podcast. I invite you to go and check those guys out. They reviewed my marketing for voiceover video a couple of weeks ago. And I'll be a featured guest on their podcast in a couple of weeks' time. But check them out, the Cold Read Podcast. It is a podcast by voice actors for voice actors. And remember, you can absolutely be a voiceover artist. I'll see you in the next video.